The Lord is here tonight.
The clash between science and religion on YouTube has always been rather contentious, with early heavyweights like Thunderfoot, Aaron Raw, DPR Jones, and Potholer emerging as the go-to authorities in the science-based crowd.
Given that a god is a magical anthropomorphic immortal evidently imagined out of nothing by superstitious primitives who didn't understand anything in the natural world around them, it is already irrational to imagine that such a thing actually exists, especially with no reason to believe that and plenty of good reasons not to.
And channels like VenomfangX, Gear Up, Ray Comfort, and Kirk Cameron representing the fantasy-based perspective.
When I look at a painting, how can I know there was a painter? Well, the painting is absolute 100% scientific proof there was a painter. You can't have a painting without a painter. And exactly the same applies with the existence of God. How do we know God exists? You can't see him, hear him, touch him, taste him, or smell him. Well, creation is 100% scientific proof there was a creator.
This of course leaves out many more remarkable and creative channels and people involved, but we can only include so many in this tale. I remember when I first became aware of Thunderfoot's video series, Why Do People Laugh at Creationists? I found these videos to be awesome. There was just something about them that made me realize that YouTube had something to offer that television did not. Without the filter of rich television executives deciding what can and cannot be featured on the airwaves, unique and interesting personalities were allowed to emerge and become available to us. It was f***ing awesome. YouTube also allowed for feuds to be played out unfiltered. And one of the most interesting ones in my memory was Thunderfoot vs. VenomfangX. VenomfangX was this kid that would watch Kent Hovind's seminars online and then make videos of himself basically parodying exactly what Hovind was preaching. He clearly had no original thoughts and was regularly called out on it. One thing I will give young VenomfangX is the tremendous gorilla-sized balls this kid possessed.
I'm gonna make a challenge for you. Do you want to debate with me live? We'll record it, post it on YouTube, make it a big event. We can even have one of those Mortal Kombat screens, you know, me on one side, you on the other. It'll be crazy, right? Let's do it. It'll be fun.
For him, in his position, to go up against credited actual scientists like Thunderfoot, who had jobs at universities and studied in laboratories, was just pure craziness. And yet, VFX did so without hesitation. It was truly remarkable, and he amassed an incredible YouTube following and viewership as a result. He was a YouTube sensation, and everything seemed to be working out well for him. Until he made a terrible misstep in his feud with Thunderfoot and YouTube atheists in general, and it all came crashing down. It is important to note that this aspect of the feud was really more about creationism specifically rather than religion alone. Creationists take the whole belief in an ancient text concept way too far, to the point where they find themselves advocating for completely ridiculous and scientifically unproven notions like the Earth being only a couple of thousand years old. One of the biggest problems creationism has always had is that the theory is so bizarre and flies in the face of reality so egregiously that they are often forced into situations in which they must either lie horribly or abandon the theory entirely. Can you guess which route is most often chosen?
Citing what he called the breathtaking inanity of the school board's decision, he found that several members had lied to cover their tracks and disguise the real purpose behind the intelligent design policy.
The crushing weight of the evidence indicates that the board set out to get creationism into science classrooms.
It is because of this same tendency that VFX found himself in so much trouble. VFX tried going around YouTube making copyright claims on practically every video that even talked about him, claiming that it was putting his family's lives in danger. After this claim was shown to be false, and not even a concern that VFX himself actually held, counter notices were filed. VFX was given an ultimatum: either apologize for your actions and leave YouTube for 1 year's time, or face real legal consequences. VFX apologized and left.
This is an apology from myself to Thunderfoot and other YouTube users.
Amazingly, years later, he was scheduled for an appearance on the Amazing Atheists podcast, The Drunken Peasants, and he actually showed up. And you know what? He had a really great appearance. It was genuinely entertaining. Gone was the kid who merely parroted Kent Hovind's creationist seminars verbatim. Instead, you had an individual who seemed to be speaking his own words. It was actually impressive. Not sure exactly what he's up to these days. He hasn't uploaded any videos in months and doesn't seem to be very active in the Christian YouTube scene. In any case, I appreciate everything he's done to entertain us. He was a big part of my early YouTube experience and remains a fascinating example of a guy who got in over his head and drowned because of it. Now, of course, there is much more story to tell, many more characters to examine, the most fascinating of which being myself, OGjimbo. So let me know if you like this trip down memory lane, and if you have, we'll do part 2, maybe even part 3. Thank you for watching, thank me for speaking, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Peace.